All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome in to a victorious whiskey and wine. LSU beats Southeastern Louisiana 56-10. Tigers moved to 4-0. A day where we all wanted to see LSU get the offense going, and my goodness, did they. This was an ass kicking. Not that it's a giant surprise. You played an FCS opponent. You did what you should do to an FCS opponent. LSU wins at 56-10. Tigers put up 530 yards of offense on the night, and that's with Garrett Nussmeier and the starters only playing one possession in the second half. The defense allows just 30 yards of offense in the first half. The backups played the entire second half. None of the starters played. I say they back on the first defensive possession of the second half. Don McKinley was out there. I think Jamari Butler might have been out there, but it was backups for the entirety of the second half. And Southeastern did manage a touchdown and a field goal, but a lot to like from what we saw about what we saw from LSU in this ball game. Not just the final score, but Nussmeier looking healthy and looking good and looking strong and slinging the ball around the field. And there was some stuff that clearly they'll have to work on after this game. You lost Gabe Relaford to a shoulder injury. You lost DJ Chester to a targeting. Caleb Jackson got hurt at the end of the game as well. So there's some things we'll have to keep an eye on. You're coming out of this ball game when Brian Kelly meets with reporters post game, and then on Monday as well. So welcome on in. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. LSU 56-10. Brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Tell you all the time, I'm proud to be a partner with Parish, not just as an advertiser. I'm an equity partner in Parish Construction and Roofing, so I'm one of the owners. And love to help you out. Roof repairs, roof replacements, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, residential, commercial, gutters, soft wash. We do it all over the state. And Got Lit Light installers as well. Big shout out to my buddy Derek, gotlitlights.com, gotlitlights.com. is the website. It's easy. Come to your house. They'll bring their Christmas lights. They install them. Anything goes wrong during the season, they come fix it. End of the season, they haul it away. It's so convenient. The only thing I tell you is do not wait. Think, I'll call them in November. Like, they're done installs by Thanksgiving. So call them now. Get your estimate. Get on the books. Gotlitlights.com, gotlitlights.com. All right, y'all. Let's do this as this audience builds. Let's go ahead and pour our drink. Let's light our cigar. Let's have ourselves a hell of a night. I'm fired up, y'all. I mean, we got like one of the great things about the Big Ten expanding the way they did. There's really like good West Coast football. I mean, I'm gonna get Michigan State and Southern Cal are about to start after Arizona State Baylor. So I mean, I got like 3 bets on that game. I got by the way, Phil Steele, if you like that game, liked the second half, USC's second half line. I think it was 7.5. I think I got the over in that game as well. Maybe Southern Cal laying 18.5. So got a bunch. So good. I know some of y'all are gonna be super envious. Let's go and pour Blanton's. Might cash out that bottle tonight. Maybe. See how the night goes. Beautiful pour. The original single barrel bourbon, Blanton's. And let's go ahead and light our cigar. Going to be smoking the Bocock Brothers premium cigar tonight. This is the 100-year Tiger Stadium edition. Always like to get a little char on the end. How red that flame is. All right, y'all. We ready. Cheers. Tigers win. Tigers win. Do me a solid. You know the drill. Got my Bourbon Society of Baton Rouge. Glenn Cairn there. Do me a solid. Take a picture. Take a photo. Tweet me. Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Raise a glass. Let me know what you're drinking. Post what you're drinking there. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. Tigers win. Tigers win. All right. All right, let's run through the game. I'll give you some of my big picture takeaways here as we start. I'd love to, by the way, Joseph asked where I got the hat. This is section 103. I'll drop this link in there as well. Section 103, they did a few social media posts with us on AFR. And look, Their LSU stuff is legit. They did a great job with their LSU gear. They're a Georgia Tech company. They started with Georgia Tech. LSU was the second one they did. I just posted the link in there. They got this hat. Use the code AFR, 3 letters, AFR for 10% off at Section 103. All right. I miss watching Scott and T-Bob argue over the lighter. That's because that son of a bitch kept taking my lighter. He'd use it, put it in his pocket, then he'd just forget that he had it. He'd walk away with it. All right, we're going to run through game flow. I'll give you some of my big picture takeaways. They're coming into this game. There are 5 things I told you I wanted to see. Number 1 was we wanted to see the offense get going, especially the pass game. Want to see them stretch the field, right? Considering Nuss's torso and everything was the biggest question. Nuss finishes 25 of 31 for 273, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, completed 81% of his passes and a rating of 186.6. They took shots downfield early and often. And by the way, his numbers would have been even better, but for 4 drops. So Aaron Anderson had a drop, Barian Brown had a drop, and Nick Anderson had 2 drops. It was 4 drops in the first half with Nuss throwing the football. So his numbers would have been even better, but for the drops. Can we stop the conversation about Nuss's torso, please? Can we please stop this conversation? Nobody was having this conversation until Brian Kelly mentioned it on Monday. Then all of a sudden it became this, oh, Eureka, that's what's wrong with the offense. No. What's wrong with the offense is what I've been saying is wrong with the offense. And what you saw on display tonight, which is LSU has 5 new starters on the offensive line, and they have some real concerns. Weston Davis got pulled tonight at right tackle. They put DJ Chester in there, which doubly sucks because next week you're going to Ole Miss. And if you're not confident with with Davis at right tackle, and Chester is your next option, well, now you don't have Chester for the first half because of a stupid targeting call because you attempted a 59-yard field goal and you're 10 yards short on the kick, and they end up returning it. And now you got an offensive lineman who's your 6th man, your first guy off the bench at any position who's not going to be available for you in the first half because it's a stupid targeting rule. So anyway, no, hold on. I want to be clear about this. Rhett said quarterback has an injury. Any team in the country would talk about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about with what Kelly brought up. My point continues to be that this is something that they've managed since fall camp that we've talked about. I went back and shared my notes with you. It was August the 15th. It was a Friday practice when Nuss wasn't throwing. And the point is, then very next day, he was a full go in their scrimmage in Tiger Stadium. If he was battling that badly of an injury, you think he's going from not throwing on a Friday to a full scrimmage in Tiger Stadium on a Saturday? Hell no, man. It's literally a thing in the sense that it's something, but I've compared it to the knee tendonitis that everybody flipped the fuck about, which was a thing because it's a thing, and he missed a practice because he was uncomfortable. It didn't limit him in any way. But nobody wants to listen to Brian Kelly say that it hasn't affected their play call at all. It didn't affect the offense. What affected the offense is what affected the offense is you have an inexperienced offensive line, and they weren't stretching the field to protect Garrett Nussmeier against and a young, inexperienced offensive line against really good defensive lines from Clemson and Florida. So anyway, looked fine tonight, didn't he? Thought it looked great. All right, so that was one. Wanted to see, obviously, Garrett Nussmeier. He was awesome tonight. Want to see the run game get going. Statistically, pretty good on the ground. 35 for 135. They average right at 4 yards a carry. Remember, that's not sack adjusted. If you sack adjust, it was 155 rush yards for 4.7 a carry. That's good. Juwan Johnson averaged 5.44 per carry. Harlem Berry 7 for 28. Caden Durham 7 for 17. And Cole, if you're watching the TV broadcast, Cole Kublik spotlighted. I think Jordan Rogers was spotlighting it as well. Some of the issues that Caden Durham's having maybe with with his vision, some of those running lanes. I don't want to make too much out of a game against Southeastern Louisiana because we saw Caden Durham was awesome last year. But That's so cheap. Where's the Eagle 25? That's Eagle Rare 25 year. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't buy that. I just have a real hard time justifying paying for that when it's just not worth it. Anyway, all that to say, with the running game, I'm not worried about Durham. I think Durham's great. He's going to be fine. Juwan Johnson's also undeniable. Like, that dude set the Louisiana high school all-time record for yardage and touchdowns. We've said it for 2 years now. Like, he's a great athlete who knows what to do with the ball in his hands. And like his second touchdown, the 8-yard touchdown run, think about, like, he kind of got tripped up in the backfield, bounced out left, someone grabbed his foot, he kept his balance, got up, got north and south, and got in the end zone. Like, that was impressive to see, man. And I think you can make a case for Juwan Johnson, getting even more reps. A lot of y'all are asking about, mentioning Van Buren. I'll get there. I thought Van Buren played great in the second half. His final numbers, by the way, Michael Van Buren, 10 of 12, a $122, a touchdown, no interceptions, completed 83% of his passes. He also ran 4 times for 16 yards and had the rushing touchdown. So I'm going to tell you, Van Buren did not look good in fall camp. He looked good tonight. That was great to see. And maybe it's a situation where Michael Van Buren is just a gamer. Like, I remember having this conversation with Rohan a lot, because that was always like the knock on Roe, was that he was a terrible practice player, but the lights came on. And he explained it to me years later. He's like, because he's like, practice isn't football. You got coaches on the field. You're working on, a portion of the field, and you don't have the entirety. It's like it confines you, and it's not the game. So you go in the game, and it was different. That obviously showed. And some guys might be like that. Maybe that's Michael Van Buren, because he really looked good tonight. So Nuss, the rushing offense. The third thing, the 5 things I said, third was Bauer Sharp. See, Bauer Sharp could score a touchdown against his old team. Did. They got in the red zone, threw him a little dump pass. He got north and south, tried to hurdle a guy, didn't need to, but still got in. That was cool to see. I was hoping we'd see the 3 Weeks brothers on the field at the same time. I think they absolutely did the right thing in sitting West Weeks with the calf injury, but that does kind of call into question the possibility of, like, if we're going to have the opportunity to see that this year, because you may not have another opportunity where Zach could be in the game with the other two, unless if they just take a play and find a way to make that happen. So, and then finally was get out of there healthy, and you almost did that. But Relaford, I was told Relaford's shoulder popped out. They popped it back in pretty easily. It doesn't seem like that's going to be a big deal, but I've never had a dislocated shoulder. Some of you may have. Like, if you've had a dislocated shoulder, you can probably tell me way better than I would know. I've never dislocated a shoulder. I have no idea. But here's hoping that it's no big deal for Relaford and he's able to play next week. I have no idea, but especially with the way Chambliss at Ole Miss is running the ball, I'm assuming Chambliss will start next week against LSU. His dual threat, you're going to need your ends to be rotating. They like to go fast. You're going to need your defensive line rotation. So really hoping Relaford's okay and is able to go next week. The other injury was the locust. The other injury was Caleb Jackson. Kind of got tackled on his head there in the the fourth quarter on that 13-yard. It was a 3rd and 12. Great conversion on that 3rd and 12, but kind of got tackled on his head and went out after that. So, and then you lost DJ Chester. So someone asked a good question. Someone asked a good question, said, with Chester out, who's the next man up on the offensive line? Because keep in mind, y'all, Chester, so in the second half, when the twos went in, Chester was your second center. In the first half, when Weston Davis, or I guess the first drive of the second half, when they benched Weston Davis, they put Chester in at right tackle. when Tyree Adams against Tech, or was it Tech or was it Clemson, went out for a play, Chester went at left tackle. All that to say, Chester's your sixth lineman. And he can play any of the five positions. So if anybody goes out, Chester goes in. So it's a really good question to say, if something happens in the first half, God forbid, you need someone to go in, who goes in? I think it depends on the position. I think Cohen Eccles would be center or either guard next up. And left tackle, I don't know what you would do. I mean, Carius Kern took the most reps there as the second left tackle. And I would assume that's what you would do. And then probably same at right tackle. So, Corey Williams played left tackle in the second half. Kern played right. So I went and looked it up. It was August 18th when the media got to go watch a practice, and Kern, who had been exclusively working as the second team left tackle, Kern was working as the first team right tackle. It was August 18th. That was 12 days before Clemson. And 12 days before the opener, and you make a change on your first team offensive line with a guy who hadn't played there before. Benefit of hindsight, that's a pretty good indicator that they felt like they had some issues with Weston Davis at right tackle. So, I mean, the fact that 12 days before the opener, you're giving someone else reps with the ones at right tackle who had not been playing right tackle tells you. And Kelly said at the time they were just trying to give Davis some competition, putting Kern over there. And I don't know if you're going to Ole Miss starting Carius Kern at right tackle. I'm assuming it'll be Weston Davis, but clearly he's got to improve. And if you listen to or watch Locked On LSU, and thanks to everybody who does, we go through the PFF grades every week, and Weston Davis has been the lowest graded offensive lineman so far through 3 games, and I'm certain he will be tonight as well after this game. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. All right, we'll go through some game flow. I'm going to go ahead and pin the Got Lit website on the chat. So of course, Parish Construction Roofing. Do business with someone parishbuilt.com. Love to help you out. Roof repairs, roof replacements. And of course, Got Lit Light Installers, gotlitlights.com, gotlitlights.com. Super easy. Derek Hudnall and his crew, they're awesome. I'll never Clark Griswold it. I'll never get on my roof and put up lights ever. When we moved into this house, I bought those star shower things, projects it's a light projector onto the house. Just because Erica wants, I joke sometimes that if Erica had a celebrity hall pass, I think it would be Santa Claus. She's that big into Christmas. So whenever I found Got Lit, it was awesome. I mean, they'll come give you an estimate. People say, well, how much does it cost? It depends on what you want. Do you just want the front of your house? Do you want the roof? Do you want trees wrap? Do you want yard decor as well? So it depends what you want. But they're awesome, and it's totally turnkey. They bring their lights, set them up. When Christmas is over, they take them down, haul them away. It's awesome. gotlitlights.com. All right. I want to go through game flow. Johnson looks better than Durham. He has the last couple of weeks. There's no doubt. Bro, I'm telling you, man, I projected the Christmas lights because I am the least handy individual you will ever meet. And I'm fine with that. Everybody's got strengths and weaknesses. I don't want to change a light bulb. That just ain't my thing. Chase said Big W jump in the pool. Nope, not doing that. Reserve that for by the way, that's not a tiki torch. That's my neighbor. So there's a pool here and then a pond behind us, and then across the pond are my neighbor's house. So that's a light. That's a light in my neighbor's yard across the pond. That's not a tiki torch. Good on it. DJ Chester was ejected for targeting. LSU attempted a 59-yard field goal, which came up short on which they then returned. On the return, Chester made the tackle and was flagged for targeting. So he is not available for the first half of the game against Ole Miss. Daniel, fuck you. Go away, bitch. No one's making you be here. Eat shit. Go away. Fuck you. No one's making you be here. Like, seriously, just leave. It's a free show. You're welcome to hang out. Got a great sponsor of those Christmas lights. I'm going to promote the hell out of them. I hope everybody calls them. Anyway. Not in the mood, bitch. Fucking losers. Anyway. All right, let's go through the game. Go through game flow here. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, like the page, share the post. Appreciate y'all so much for hanging out with us. All right. For the fourth consecutive game, LSU's opponent has won the toss. So LSU has received all 4 games because the opponent won the toss and deferred. Guitar George said, "What are you drinking?" Oh, Blanton's, the original single barrel whiskey. Daniel got it. You got lit. Anyway, do they do Halloween lights? I don't think they do Halloween, but ask them. I mean, they might do anything. Bocock cigar's hitting, man. If you like cigars, you haven't tried a Bocock cigar, do a great job, dude. Anyway, all right. So LSU gets the ball and they quickly go 3 and out. It was the first drive was undone by the first play where they threw the screen pass to Caden Durham, and he was thrown for a 7-yard loss. So 3 and out punt, 53-yard punt. Chadwick was awesome. Chadwick punted on the first drive. After that, he would not punt again. LSU would go on. These were the next drives. They went touchdown, 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 punt. 4, 5, 6. So 8. They punted on the opening drive, then scored on 8 consecutive drives. And maybe the most impressive thing is, Nuss led the opening drive of the second half where they scored, and then Van Buren led 2 straight touchdown drives as well. So the twos were in there and scored twice, which was great to see. Defense forced a 3 and out on Southeastern's first possession. Tigers get the ball, and on first down, they went deep to Barry Brown. He dropped it. Then they went deeper to Aaron Anderson on the right sideline, and he dropped it. He had it, made some contact with him, and he dropped the ball. It was back-to-back drops right there, and they were stretching the field. So everybody wanted to see him throw deep. They did. Receivers let him down. 3rd and 10, Aaron Anderson, 11 yards, moved the chains. Vibes are pretty low at this point, but I'll tell you this ended up being a 13-play, 45-yard drive. And I know you're going to look at that and go, 13 plays, 45 yards. That's some Les Miles bullshit. And you're not wrong. A 13-play, 45-yard drive. But you had those 2 drops at the start of the drive when they were trying to stretch the field. But you converted a 3rd and 10 with the 11-yarder to Aaron Anderson. You converted a 3rd and 2 when they went under center. It's something Brian Kelly said after the game last week. They might do more I formation on that 3rd and 2. Bauer Sharp was lined up on the right side. He motioned across basically as the H-back, and then was the lead blocker for Durham, who got 3 yards. They had a 3rd and 2, Nussmeier quarterback sneak. They had a 3rd and 4, Caden Durham 5-yard run for the first down to the 1, and then Garrett Nussmeier quarterback sneak for a touchdown. So the short yardage running game was good. You converted 4 third downs on that drive, which was great to see. Brian Kelly said specifically they wanted to be better on 3rd down. In this game, they were 9 of 14 on 3rd down and 3 of 3 on 4th down. So I get it. You're facing a horribly outmanned opponent. I'm not making too much of it. But the flip side of it is, if you were playing this opponent and didn't have that result, then it's cause for concern. If you're a good team, you should do to them what you're supposed to do. And that's great. By the way, super chat. Thank you. Let's go Tigers. Great result against an in-state team. We're supposed to beat like that better every week. Watkins is a burner. Yeah. So Jelani Watkins is a legit track star. I mean, he had one of the fastest 100 times in the country for track this past year. So he would have had a touchdown, but Van Buren couldn't step into that throw. Watkins is a problem, man. His speed is a weapon that they could use. But then again, you've got Barry Brown and Nick Anderson and Chris Hilton. You got dudes with speed. Good to see Hilton get involved. He would have had a touchdown too, but they grabbed him, got the PI flags. 2 PI flags this year Chris Hilton's drawn. All right, so Tigers are up 7-0. Southeastern gets the ball. 3-and-out punt. That's where Deshaun Spears ran into the punter. So they got their first down, but they get to a 4th and 1. They tried the sneak. Bernard Gooden blew it up. Y'all, Bernard Gooden, it is a little validating with some of this stuff because, like, if for those of you who followed our camp reports, and it's kind of the credit of Brian Kelly letting us go watch a lot of camp, right? He lets us see a lot. I'm not watching 10 minutes of stretch and then we're out. Guitar George, Juwan Johnson was the man. He was great tonight. I'll get to that Arkansas thing in a minute. But Gooden, Halsey, Barry and Brown, a lot of these guys Braylon Moore that we talked about during fall camp as being really good players and impact guys via the portal. You're seeing it now, right? And Bernard Gooden's a problem, man. He blew up that 4th and 1 play, which is great to see. So Tigers get the ball back. They actually get sacked. Nick Anderson had a 10-yard reception on 1st down from the 34. They get sacked at 2nd and 19. Then Nick Anderson has another drop. 3rd and 19, 8-yard catch by Caden Durham. It's 4th and 11. I thought this was the moment of the game where something which felt a little sluggish early, kind of mistake prone. This was the moment that broke it open. It was 4th and 11. LSU decides to go for it. Nuss hits Xavier Thomas for 17 yards on the crosser down to the 18-yard line. 2 plays later, you're in the end zone. Juwan Johnson, a 16-yard run, then his first touchdown run from 2 yards out. It's 14-0, and just like that, Tigers were off and running. They forced a punt. Tigers get the ball back. 1st down. Aaron Anderson, 25 yards. They went deep to Nick Anderson from the 35-yard line down the middle. That's one where it would have been a contested catch in the end zone. That's one thing. If I got one gripe with the offense tonight, I don't mean to be griping about the offense. They put up 500 yards and 56 points. I would have liked to have seen some more contested catches, man. And Aaron Anderson, touchdown Michigan State. Yay for over players. Aaron Anderson down the right sideline. Barry and Brown with the drop. Nick Anderson in the end zone. Would have liked to see some of the drops and contested catches. But for the drops, Nussmeier, I charted 4 drops. He would have been 29 of 31 for probably 350 yards, maybe closer to 400 yards. But for the drops. So in any event, Tigers up 21-0. Defense forces another 3-and-out. Bernard Gooden forced a fumble on that drive that they recovered. You got a sack, which was a combo sack by Pyburn and Jacobian Guillory. Tigers get the ball back with 5:56 to go in the half. 1st down. Again, this was a very clear, very intentional way they were starting drives. 1st down was when Hilton drew the PI. So look at their 1st down plays. The first play of the game was the dump off for a 7-yard loss to Caden Durham in the flat, but they were trying to go deep, but it was covered, so he checked it down. 1st down, the next drive was Barry and Brown deep that he dropped. 1st down, the next drive was a pass to Nick Anderson for 10 yards. 1st down, the next drive was Aaron Anderson for 25 yards. 1st down, the next drive was the Hilton PI. So you see my point, it was very clear. They were starting every drive with the intent of stretching the field and loosening up that defense. So this was a drive where damn it. This one. Here it is. So 1st down, it ended up being Damn it. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. It ended up being an Christ almighty, at Locust. An 8-play, 57-yard drive. 8-play, 57-yard drive. On 2nd and 5, Brown had a 15-yarder. On 3rd and 1 was when they had the TFL, so they ended up with 4th and 2, went for it, and Juwan Johnson had the 8-yarder. They got sacked on 1st down from the 6 back at the 17-yard line. That was the defensive tackle, Proctor, who got the sack. And then on the next play was the 17-yarder to Barry and Brown. I thought Barry and Brown was really good tonight. I hated to see the drop at the beginning of the game. Other than that, he trucked the dude in the second half on a play out in the flat. He as fast as he is, he's also, you can just tell, like, he is put together, man. If you ever get a chance to stand next to him, he's a thickly built, put together dude, man, who can fly. The other thing I loved, Southeastern got the ball. So LSU's up 28-0. Southeastern gets the ball at 2:06. Thinking they might just try to run the clock out. Buddy Mathis had a pass breakup, batted at the line of scrimmage on that possession. But LSU got a quick stop, got the ball back with 1:34 at their own 44, and they went into the 2-minute offense and ended up scoring again before the half. Hilton had a couple of catches on that drive. They went Hilton for 11 yards, Sharp for 16, Hilton for 8, Anderson for 10. They were right down the field. Weston Davis had a false start on that drive, and this is where Nick Anderson had another drop. But Weston Davis had the false start, and they overcame it on 3rd down with the Xavier Thomas touchdown to go up 35-0 going into the half. So there was a nice. So Derek Hudnall texted me. So whoever asked about Halloween lights earlier, he texted me, said yes, they do Halloween lights. So Got Lit Light installers, gotlitlights.com. They do Halloween lights as well. Gotlitlights.com, gotlitlights.com. I got it pinned in the chat. All right. See, notes from the first half. Let me get through this. Let me get through my notes, and then we'll come to your questions, comments. So keep them coming. I see them all there. Let's see. Love the 3rd down conversions. You converted 4 of them on your first scoring drive. You ended up 9 of 14 on 3rd down for the day. I love the 4th down stop. You converted a 4th and 11 on the 17-yarder to Xavier Thomas. Jamari Butler had a pass breakup. You had a 3rd and 11. You had a 3rd and 11 where Nuss ran for 26 yards. Where was that? Here it was. It was on the drive to go up 21-0. You had 3rd and 11 when you went deep to Nick Anderson, incomplete, where he dropped the ball in the end zone. You ran Caden Durham on 2nd down, so it was he lost the yards. So it's 3rd and 11, and Nuss ran for 26 yards. And the next play is when Juwan Johnson scored his 2nd touchdown. So Bernard Gooden had a forced fumble. The conversion on 4th and 2 with Juwan Johnson. Barron Brown's touchdown was great. Didn't love the drops. You had a personal foul from Dominic McKinley in the first half as well. You had the running into the punter on Deshaun Spears, which gave them a new drive. Mentioned going under center on 3rd downs. We saw a lot of under center tonight. Relative to what they normally do, they definitely went under center, which helped you show something new and, of course, helped in the run game. You scored on 5 straight possessions. Love the 2-minute offense. And the Gabriel Elliford injury sucked. Again, was told shoulder, but not thought to be serious, which is the great thing. So Southeastern gets the ball to start the second half. At a 14-yard reception on the 1st down. And then after that, 3-and-out punt. We saw Nussmeier. And by the way, it was wholesale changes defensively. And then Nussmeier went out there for 1 drive in the second half, and it was a 7-play, 87-yard drive, 3:17 off the clock to put LSU at 42-0. 1st down, 14-yard reception by Juwan Johnson. Kyle Parker had back-to-back receptions. Bauer Sharp for 18 yards. Barry Brown for 12 yards. That's where he trucked the dude on the sideline. Juwan Johnson, a 4-yard carry, and then the 6-yard touchdown pass to Barry. start to go 42-0. And then they emptied the bench. The backups came in. I thought Michael Van Buren was really good. The first touchdown drive he led was a 16-play, 81-yard drive. 16-play, 81 yards. They faced a 3rd and 12. He found Donovan Green for 15 yards. They had a 3rd and 10 where Van Buren ran for 1 yard, but there was that was the field goal with the targeting. That was batshit crazy. So I'm okay running Ramos out there to try a 59-yarder if he's got the leg, and they wouldn't run him out there if they didn't know he had the leg to do it. And I guess that's a situation to let him go try. But hindsight 2020, when you're up 42-7 at this point, and the issue is no longer at hand. I don't know, man. It feels careless. You think worst case scenario is he puts his boot into it and misses it, and then they get the ball around midfield. But man, it really sucks that you don't have DJ Chester now for the first half because of that. Now, this is wrong. Gambler Man said he can't make 50. That's just inaccurate. Like we charted we charted 50 plus makes for Ramos. Burrell certainly has. Burrell could kick it from 75. That's not an exaggeration either, by the way. Like he kicks the shit out of the ball. And yes, thank you, Mike. He made a 53-yarder against Clemson. So, but 53 and 59 might be pushing his range. He probably just needed to get lower. Like you could just tell, man, he hit it high and straight. He probably just needed to get it low line drive to get it there. But I'm probably just a little bitter because now you don't have DJ Chester. Like this, Cole, could not disagree with you more here, man. Like, I'm not telling you he's an All-American, but DJ Chester was a top 100 prospect when he showed up, and he's a massive dude. I think people have a feeling, they feel a certain way about DJ Chester because of last year. And the thing I'll say about Chester a year ago is undoubtedly, like objectively, he was your weak link in the offensive line. But DJ Chester never played center before. Like, they were trying to get their 5 best on the field. And so he stepped up and played center when he's not a center. And moving him to guard, a more natural position, something like that this year, I think will serve him well. But he's your 6th best. Like if he's your number 6 right now, he's a swing guy that can play. He's valuable because he play any of those positions. So he's your backup guard. He's your backup center. He's your backup at either tackle spot. And now in the first half, you don't have it. So like, let's say you go out to Ole Miss next week, who I do have thoughts on Ole Miss that I want to talk about. We will get to that. Saw Tracy just asked about that. What's up, Trace? Thoughts on Ole Miss? They look good against Tulane. I have thoughts on Ole Miss. I watched that whole game. I have thoughts on it. That is a nice win, but I think it's also just an illustration of the difference between Power 4 and G6. I think Tulane's a good team, but not they just couldn't. They were just completely outclassed on the line of scrimmage. H-Town Creole said, why is Kelly I'm sorry. So H-Town Creole, that's not the one I wanted to read. It was about a kicker, but these are going fast. But anyway, I fundamentally disagree with you about Kern being a guard. Just to be clear, okay, you, like, none of you have seen him play tackle or guard at the college level. Just like legit. That's not a knock, point the finger. Like, they're coming into tonight, Carius Kern had taken one snap on the season. He played one snap on the entire season. So you have not seen him. I have. Like, the media got to go watch a lot of practice, and I got to watch Kern play a ton of tackle in spring and in fall. He can play tackle. Okay. Like, the differentiator with a guard and a tackle is obviously footwork. Can you exist on an island against pass rushers and hold up? Kern is plenty athletic enough to do it. He's got to get experience, but Kern can absolutely play tackle. That's not even a question. I'm not saying he's great at it today. I'm not saying he's an All-American today. He's a freshman. Okay. But he has the skill set to be a tackle. But back to the Chester question that someone asked, or the shitty comment that someone made about Chester. His versatility is invaluable. The fact that, because now if you think of it, that's a dude who started 13 games a year ago, has played a ton of football for you. And if anything happens, anyone goes down, anyone's not playing well, you have a guy that's played a ton. You know, like, that is, like, it's hard to measure the value of that. Like, when Tyree Adams gets hurt and goes out of the ball game, you're bringing in a dude that's started 14 games to replace him. Like, when Weston Davis was struggling tonight, they put Chester in at right tackle. That's a dude that's played a ton of football going in there. Like, not having him for the first half sucks. And especially, look, Braylon Moore played again on his bum ankle. You know, there was the one play tonight on the sack that I would love to know, and I don't know the answer to this because I don't know what the responsibilities were, but it was where Proctor, when they were near the goal line, they scored on the next play, but where Proctor got the 7-yard sack where he came between Moore and Cohen Eccles. And Braylon Moore, I'm going to trust Braylon Moore knew what he was doing, and Cohen Eccles is the one that fucked up. But Eccles looked left, Moore sort of forearm, kind of like shanked Proctor toward Eccles, and Eccles had turned left, and Proctor went straight through and sacked Nuss. I'm going to guess that was on Eccles, not Braylon Moore. But anyway, all that to say, I'd love to have the luxury of Chester in case, and you're not going to have him for a half. So, look at me. You played a half at Clemson without A.J. Halsey. You made it, but you had a veteran in Jordan Gilbert who stepped up and played a really good half of football for you. So, all right. Anything else from my notes? Loved Byron Sharp's touchdown. I thought Michael Van Buren played really well. Dylan Carpenter got a sack. How about Damian Shanklin, freshman, getting 2 sacks? He looks good in the uniform, y'all. 17, he had 2 sacks late in the game if you made it that long. Kern had a hold. Chester's targeting. He had a face mask on Kylan Billiot. That sucked. And Caleb Jackson got hurt late in the game. I think that's it. That's my notes. All right. Let's see what y'all got, man. Fire away. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, thanks for being there. Like the page. Share the post. All that good stuff. Appreciate it. Drink a little Blanton's. Let me know what you got in your glass, whatever your pour is, or maybe drinking a nice cold Bud Light, whatever you got, man. Glad to have y'all with us. Cheers. Tigers win. Let's get some of your comments here. If there's any super chats that I missed earlier. Hey, David. Dominating win. A couple of injuries, costly, suspicious targeting. See, here's the thing about the targeting. I think the targeting was the right call by the letter of the law. I just hate the letter of the law. Like, y'all know how I feel about that at this point. I think targeting there should be tiers. I've said this for years. Just like there's flagrant 1, flagrant 2 in basketball, there should be targeting 1, targeting 2. You can determine intent and dangerous plays. Like, you can subjectively look at a play and say, was this play dangerous, or was this a guy's going to make a tackle, the offensive player starts to duck, slide, their helmets hit. Like, you got to be able to determine intent, so we're not throwing kids out of games, throwing guys out of games for things like that. The weekends are sometimes would get me off kilter. Charles. I charted 4 drops. I don't know if there were more. Pro Football Focus has a I doubt the PFF grades are in already, but I'll check. Give me 2, like, I'm on the page right now. Let me check. They're not in for Southeastern yet. So I'll have the PFF show for Monday on Locked on LSU. But we'll look at it tomorrow on Morning Scone as well. So the drops were disappointing for sure. And I charted 4. Christian, to see the targeting call that got called back in the Missouri game, way worse than the call in LSU. I need to go back and watch it. I had the Missouri game on my laptop while I was watching and charting LSU, so I didn't see the Missouri one. I'm gonna have to go see it. But y'all know how I feel about targeting at this point. Hey, Jacob, good day. Virginia Tech Hokies got their win. LSU got a win. Where's all the Sloan and us haters now? The counter argument to that, Jacob, will be the people that say, well, it's Southeastern, you should beat them that way. And I agree. Like, you should beat Southeastern that way. I would be, and I'm not saying you should throw a ticker tape parade because LSU put up 56 points and 500 yards against an FCS school. What I am saying is I'd be concerned if you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's a no-win situation. It's an only lose situation. If they didn't play well offensively in this ball game, then we'd be sitting here more concerned, right? So Michael Van Buren leads a couple of scoring drives against an FCS opponent when you're up 6 touchdowns, and you think he's better than the guy that threw for 4,000 yards a year ago. Fuck out of here, man. Like, where do y'all come from? Like, I don't know where some of y'all come from with your shit. Like, for real. Let's see. M. Fisher, Charles, with Arkansas fumbling the game away, how long till Pittman's gone? Yeah, man, how about that? Arkansas losing today, blowing an 18-point lead against Memphis. I don't know the inner workings at Arkansas, but what I do know is that Bobby Petrino is the offensive coordinator, and it would be really easy to fire Sam Pittman, promote Petrino for the rest of the year, and see what happens with it. Hal, I don't think it's troll. Like, I'm a troll, and it takes a troll to know a troll. That guy ain't a troll. He's just a dumbass. Like, he legit believes that. I'm sorry. I assure you Hunt is not already asleep, because Hunt has to write the game story for LouisianaSports.net and his column for LouisianaSports.net that I will end up editing probably around midnight or 1 a.m. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to record Locked on LSU, my Locked on LSU postgame show. And then I'll edit, I'll shower and edit and wait up to edit Hunt's column for LouisianaSports.net. So. Hey, Marlon. This is why I watch Matt. Straight talk. Good or bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, man. It's the only thing I know how to do. Good question, Mike. The Clemson and Florida wins look a little different now. Florida, no. I don't think anybody anticipated Florida winning that game at Miami tonight. They actually put up a good battle. until Miami scored late to give them the margin. Um, I said this on pregame with Hanny and Musso earlier today. I think this Clemson team may end up looking up. This will be a dated reference. If you're an older LSU fan, you'll get this. 1998 LSU was a preseason top 10 team in the country, and you had a bunch of seniors. Like DiNardo's first class were seniors. Herb Tyler was a senior. Kevin Falk was a senior. Booger was a senior. Todd McClure was a senior. Like you had um, you're a veteran team with a lot of expectations, and you lost early to Georgia. You brought in Lou Tepper as your DC, and that was a giant mistake. And you lost early to Georgia, and you just kept losing close games, and you just spiraled. And that team, I think, ended up 4-7. That's what it feels like watching this Clemson team. They're a veteran team. They've won a lot. But I think they're flawed and they're just spiraling. Like the Troy game was an obvious letdown spot. Georgia Tech, if they play clean, remember Clemson threw an interception at the goal line. Klubnik fumbled deep in their territory, which led to a field goal, and they missed a field goal. That's a 13-point swing. You play a clean game, Clemson wins that game by 10. If they play a clean game, they didn't, and that's when you're not good. And that sort of shit happens, you spiral. I think that's what's happening to Clemson. All right, y'all, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. Always shout at Parish Construction and Roofing. I'm a proud owner in Parish. Appreciate everyone who's given us the opportunity to earn your business, both residential and commercial. I'm really proud of our commercial roofing division as well, man. We hired Matt Pearson as our commercial roofing manager from Florida because we knew we had to hire. We wanted to be able to do every roofing job possible, and I don't know there's a soul that knows more about roofing than Matt Pearson, and he's awesome. And we'd love to help you out, man. We do all over. I mean, we're all over the state of Louisiana, residential, commercial. We do gutters. We do soft wash. So you got some of that mildew, that grime on your roof, with soft wash your roof, your whole house. Let us help you out. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. And Got Lit Light Installers. I have Got Lit pinned in the chat. GotLitLights.com. Remember, just please don't think I'm going to wait until Thanksgiving. I'll call them to come do my lights. Like by then they're done. Like they did our install, I think the week of Halloween last year. You don't have to turn them on, but that's when they do their installs, like late October, then through November. So by Thanksgiving they're done. So call and get that estimate now, and get on their books. GotLitLights.com, GotLitLights.com. No, I am not. I have no equity stake at all in Got Lit. Derek Hudnall, they Got Lit sponsored Whiskey and Wine the last several years with me and T-Bob. We stopped doing that show. I don't ever mind talking about this. Like I'm an open book. I'll be as transparent. Y'all ask me anything about that, I'm happy to answer. And so we weren't doing the show there. We've had a lot of success. Got Lit's had a lot of success with advertising with me and T-Bob. And so I told Derek, I was like, look, man, I'll be happy to carry that on here on my platform. So that's why. All right. Trying to get some of y'all's comments. Davo's coach show is going to be must-see TV. Blake said Brian Kelly will become a good coach when and only when he wins a natty. I believe he could get us there. Maybe we're just talking semantics here, Blake, but to say that he's not a good coach is just stupid. He's the winningest active coach in college football by 100 games. He's won everywhere he's been, man. From Grand Valley State to Central Michigan to Cincinnati and Notre Dame and now LSU. I mean, he's won everywhere he's been, man. Like, you don't have that level of success at everywhere you've been without being a good coach. But objectively, and I agree with you, the thing that's missing from his resume is the national championship. It's why he left Notre Dame, where he could have coached at Notre Dame for the rest of his career. But the reason he left is because he felt like he watched Les Miles and Ed Ogeron win national championships at LSU, and as long as Notre Dame had the admission standards they did, like, they were never going to be able to put together a roster to win. I mean, he got Notre Dame to a BCS championship game. He got them to the 4-team playoff twice. And then they ran up against Bama and Clemson and teams they couldn't hang with. They got the shit kicked out of them. So come to LSU, where you're going to have that commitment, buy-in, resources, all that stuff to build a roster that can win, and he'll have a chance. Look at this roster right now, man. Spent $20 million on this roster. You have a good enough roster to win. We have legitimate questions about the offensive line. But I'm going to say again what a lot of you have heard me say. I'm going to say it again. Teams are allowed to improve, man. You're not a finished product in September. My God, I remember 2014, the first year of the playoff. Ohio State lost at home to Virginia Tech. That Virginia Tech team finished 6-6. And Ohio State went on to win the national championship with their third-string quarterback. Last year, a year ago, y'all remember the narrative of Ohio State a year ago? Like, they went into the portal and they got Quinshon Judkins, and they went and signed them and Ole Miss on the best portal classes. They had Will Howard coming in, they had Downs at safety. And the narrative on Ohio State was Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly left the UCLA head coaching job to go be the OC at Ohio State. And the whole season was Chip Kelly can't figure out this offense. By the time they got to the playoff, they hit their stride and boom. You just got to get there, man. You just got to get there and get in. That's why, look, next week is massive, y'all. Next week is so massive. Go win that game. And I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, because it's never easy in the SEC and there's landmines everywhere. But you win next week at Ole Miss. You get a bye. Then you're home against South Carolina, who lost again today, who's not very good. Shocker. Somebody picked them 7-5 when the rest of the fucking media at media days is picking old Rex Specs to be the SEC, all SEC quarterback. Fuck out of here. Anyway. You beat South Carolina. You go to Vandy, which I'm not saying Vandy's going to be an easy game, but I think LSU, talent-wise, will outclass Vanderbilt. I know they scored 70 tonight against Georgia State. I know they beat South Carolina, but I don't think South Carolina is very good. I think Vandy's good. They deserve respect. I think the way that they've built their roster is impressive. They made a commitment saying, look, we're not going to be able to go get the top guys in the portal, but let's go get old dudes. Let's get 23, 24-year-olds. And that's what they did. They have a veteran roster, man. But you beat Vandy, you come home, you play A&M, who I think LSU defensively will give A&M fits. I think Notre Dame is not a good defense. You saw that against Purdue today. Notre Dame is not a good defensive team. So I think you'll be fine against A&M in Baton Rouge. Then you get an open date. And if you're undefeated going into your second open date, you have 4 games left. Bama, Arkansas, come on. Western Kentucky at Oklahoma. Go 2-2 in those games. You're 10-2 and you're in the playoff. Go 3-1, you're in the SEC championship game. Either way, man. That's why I think next Saturday is just massive. And this, I could not disagree with this more. If you believe Lenora Sellers is dangerous, you're not watching. You watched him run against a shitty LSU defense a year ago, and you watched him make like a really good play on a 4th down against Clemson last year. Like, if you are watching Lenora Sellers, he is not a good I told y'all the same thing about DJ Lagway. When everybody's hyping Lagway, 5-star, this and that, I said, I've watched him play. Oh, he's 5-1 in his starts last year. Did you watch him? They didn't have a single true. The only road game that he started was a 2-10 Florida State team. Shocking that coming to Baton Rouge, going down to Miami to take on top 10 teams on the road, it didn't go well for him. Shocking. Oh, but he threw for 450 against Samford. Congratulations. Lenore Sellers is not dangerous. He is not a good quarterback. He's a good athlete who might one day become a good quarterback. Today, Lenore Sellers is not a good quarterback. And oh, by the way, they also had Rocket Sanders a year ago, and they've not replaced him. He was a great running back in the SEC. And defensively, I'm not going to say they're bad defensively, but they led with defense a year ago. With Kennard, who was the defensive player of the year in the league, who's gone. Emin Wari, who was a first-round pick, who's now in San Francisco or in Seattle. Like Tonka Hemingway was a great defensive. They're not what they. That's not a good team. That's South Carolina's not a good team. And I think y'all are hyping Vandy a little too much. I respect the hell out of what Clark Lee has done, but I would like to remind you, be Virginia Tech, who then turned around and lost to Old Dominion and fired their coach. So they beat Virginia Tech, who lost to Old Dominion and fired their coach. They beat South Carolina, who I just told you is not very good. And they beat Georgia State today. Again, I'm not telling you Vanderbilt. I'm not like trying to totally disrespect Vanderbilt. By Vanderbilt standards, they are much better than what you typically expect from Vanderbilt. But I don't think Vanderbilt is going to go up and down the field on LSU's defense. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next week when LSU goes to Oxford. They're going to start Chambliss, the Division II quarterback from Ferris State, who's played the last couple of weeks. They're going to start Chambliss, and they should, by the way. But Chambliss coming off the bench last week when nobody had game footage on him, nobody knew what to expect from this Division II quarterback coming off the bench cold and playing well. Okay. And then you get Tulane. Tulane's a good G5 team. Respect. They're a G5 team. And defensively, they had no clue what to do with Ole Miss's offense today. Blake Baker's defense, with a week to prepare for Chambliss, is going to put them in a fucking chokehold next week. Watch that happen. Watch that shit happen. Because that dude from Division II Ferris State next week is going to see something he's never seen before. Like, Cade Klubnik's a fifth-year senior who was seeing ghosts against LSU with what Blake Baker was doing. How do you think the kid from Ferris State who just beat Tulane is going to hang against Harold Perkins and Patrick Payton and Whit Weeks, Mansour Delane, AJ Hall? So y'all know the fucking roster. Like, he's going from like football, like a freshman level class in college. He's going to a graduate. He's going from entry level, like a 1,000 level class, to graduate degree in 1 week time. He's going to see shit he's never seen before, and that is not going to go well for him. All right. What question do you have for Kelly Monday? I haven't thought about it yet. What do you want me to ask him? Ethan, who makes the SEC championship game? So my pick before the season was LSU Texas. It was Texas because their schedule, and they still might, would get there over Georgia. My order of finishing the league was LSU, Texas, Georgia. I had Texas A&M 4th, Bama 5th. That was my projected order of finish in the preseason. And I picked A&M 4th, which doesn't look like a bad pick at this point because great offensive line, 3 really good running backs, and a quarterback who can run it. And I just gave Mike Elko sort of a hat tip on defense. But watching that defense struggle last week against Notre Dame gave me a lot of pause there. Anyway, I agree with this. I would love to see a situation where Aaron Burrell could go out there just so y'all could see it. I mean, he's an automatic touchback, right? I mean, he bangs the ball through the end zone every time on the kickoffs. I mean, he's good. If he figures out consistency, Aaron Burrell is going to be so much fun to watch, man. Well done, Turbo Plumbing. Well done. Why didn't Nuss play the game? Is he's injured or Van Buren? He trusts Van Buren more. Could be that. Or because they were up 42 on an FCS school. It's really good. Biggest threat moving forward. I would tell you your road games in November at Bama and at Oklahoma. Just because obviously it's going to be harder to win on the road than at home. That's just common sense, right? And I think LSU's roster is still dramatically better than Vanderbilt's. And Alabama has enough talent to beat you. I don't know that I think Ty Simpson is the guy that's going to get that done. But John Mateer looks really good. But I'll tell you today, if you watch that Oklahoma-Auburn game, Mateer, Auburn's defense is not on the same level as LSU, and Auburn held them to 24 points. Well, actually, Auburn held them to 22 because they had the safety at the end. Mateer was 24 of 36 for 271 and a tud, and then ran 10 times for 29 yards with a long of 9. Auburn bottled up John Mateer running today, which was a differentiator. Now he had the touchdown run, which is a beautiful play. He's a good athlete, man. Like he's much better. Like I went into this off season, y'all, or into the season. I went into the season. I don't know that anybody's going to go back and listen to this, but you can. It's what I love about the digital era. Everything's recorded. You can find it. But all the talk at media days, best quarterback year in the conference since 2013. And 2013 was awesome. 2013 was Manziel coming off his Heisman year. McCarron had already won 2 natties. Connor Shaw won 11 games at South Carolina. James Franklin got Missouri to the SEC championship game. Mettenberger was back. Aaron Murray he was at that point was going into his 4th year as the starter. Like 2013 was, I think, the best year, top to bottom, quarterback play in the SEC ever. Dak was at Mississippi State. Was that Chad Kelly at Ole Miss? Point is, 2013 quarterback play in the SEC, I think, is the best year ever for quarterbacks in the SEC. And people this year coming into the season were asking the same thing. And my point was, hey, hold on. Like, I know DJ Lagway was a 5-star, but he ain't done shit. Like, y'all are hyping Lenora Sellers, but did you watch him last year? For half the year, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Like, y'all are hyping Arch, but Arch has played in 3 games. He's got 95 career passing attempts. Like, the ceiling may be high for these guys, but was Bo Wallace in 13 or was Bo Wallace 14? It might have been Bo Wallace. It might have been Bo. You might be right. Kelly was probably, I think you're right. I think Kelly was after Bo. Chad Kelly was after Bo. I think you're right. Anyway, point is, there is tremendous upside with a lot of these quarterbacks. And the thing with Mateer as well. So with Mateer, I was like, Mateer may be great, but I don't know if Washington State is going to translate to the SEC. And I think that still remains to be seen. Like, Mateer's had a very good start to the season. I think, and I think Oklahoma is probably the team. Oklahoma and Tennessee, I think, are the 2 teams that I might have missed the most on my projection. But so far, I mean, they've beaten Michigan and Auburn. They had 2 ranked wins both at home. At South Carolina doesn't look as daunting as it once did. But this is the rest of their schedule. They play Kent State. They get a bye, then they play Kent State. And then they go Texas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Bama, Missouri, LSU. Like, you get through that 10-2, God bless you, bro. I just don't know that I believe they will. And that's another great point. Oklahoma got the cheap touchdown, so they scored. The offense for Oklahoma scored 22 today, but the hideout touchdown should have come off the board. Now, here's the interesting thing about that play. And by the way, I completely disagree with this. I don't think Oklahoma's defense looks nasty. I think Auburn's offensive line sucked shit. And they had a great plan to pressure him, and Jackson Arnold's a statue, and they blitzed him. But damn it, what were we talking about? Oklahoma, the offense. Where were we? I can't remember. Dang it. Some of y'all are saying Caden Durham ankle sprain. Hang on, I'll find out right now. I would not like to go to Ole Miss without Caden Durham. I know how y'all feel about it. A lot of y'all may, and I think, and Juwan Johnson was awesome tonight, and I think Juwan Johnson is really good. I would not like to go on the road in the SEC without Caden Durham. I mean, lest you forget, Caden Durham was a gigantic reason why you won at South Carolina a year ago. I mean, Caden Durham, how about the first play of the season for LSU? Run left, bottled up, reverses field, 24 yards right side. Like, at Clemson, I would not like to go on the road without the starting running back. I'll see if I can get that answer. All right. What else y'all got? Might wrap this thing up. What else y'all got? Thought Barry was going to be RB2. Whoever said that? And I told y'all, if y'all follow my fall camp reports, told you on fall camp, man, I had a staff member tell me he thought that Juwan Johnson or Xavier Thomas was going to be the second leading rusher on the team. Here's interesting. I don't know what Elijah Haven's going to do, but what I'll tell you is this. I think the more people I talk to about it, I think the LSU staff feels that Elijah Haven still needs more development, and they were more bullish on Peyton Houston. I think they are really excited to get Peyton Houston's commitment. And I think they're going to get Colton Nussmeier too. So I think that might be a situation where we all collectively look at the recruiting rankings and go, man, number one quarterback in the country's in Baton Rouge, got to get him. And I think the staff just disagrees. Not say in 12 months from now that might not change, but I think they're really excited about Peyton Houston. Is Van Buren the heir? I don't know the answer to that question, man. What I will tell you is they paid Michael Van Buren $450,000 for this year. I mean, they were all in to win a championship. They knew they needed an option if something happened to Nuss, a proven option. And so they went and got one, a guy who started 8 SEC games a year ago. And Van Buren was not good in fall camp. I mean, he wasn't. You see the flashes of the ability, but the consistency, the accuracy, throwing the ball was not there. Tonight looked awesome, which makes me go, okay, well, maybe he's just a much better Saturday player than a Monday through Friday player, which perfect. I would rather you be awesome on Saturday and meh during the week than awesome on the practice field and not able to translate it to the game. But I don't know the answer to that. And I think, how the rest of this season plays out, be a big determining factor. Like, I'm pretty confident LSU is going to sign a portal quarterback. It's just, are they signing AJ Swan or are they signing Jaden Daniels? Meaning, are they going for a guy that can give them backup depth, or are they looking for a guy that can be who has been a Power 4 starter, who can come in and bridge to Hurley, Houston, Colton Nussmeyer, whoever's next. You know what I mean? And I don't know the answer to that. Do you think we lose Blake Baker like Joe Brady? Blake Baker, this should not surprise anyone. Blake Baker wants to be a head coach, and this keeps up, he will be a head coach. Had John Sumrall had Sumrall was a candidate for North Carolina last year from Tulane. They ultimately hired Belichick. Had Sumrall gotten the North Carolina job, I believe Blake Baker was going to be the Tulane coach. So, 17-7. Need some more points here. Well, I'm okay right there. 8 minutes to go. I definitely need another score here before the end of the half. As an over bettor in USC against Michigan State, and some points. So, yes, I do believe Blake Baker is going to be a head coach, and I believe he will be one of the hottest names in this coaching carousel cycle. Interesting. Eli Holstein, be an interesting one. Remember, Eli Holstein's dad, Scott Holstein, punted at LSU in the early 90s. It's interesting. I think he was at Northwestern State. Scott Holstein told me this story. It was like a fraternity brother, Scott Holstein. It's like the first day of school or something like that, and Scott Holstein was packing up his shit. And they're like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to be the punter at LSU." The Curly Holman era. Okay. All right, so Kelly, Caden Durham, sprained ankle, MRI tomorrow. Okay. So Kelly said that post game. Forgive me. When I start this as soon as it ends, so I don't hear Kelly's comments. So yes, that sucks. I hope we've talked a lot about Braylon Moore, sprained ankle, but I think it is way easier for a lineman to tape that thing up and live in a phone booth than a running back who has to stop, start, cut, deal with that. So, I kind of want to not answer this because you keep just spamming the chat by doing this 100 times, but I've already talked about Clemson's loss. I think, I just think Clemson's a team that's spiraling. I think they're a veteran team that suffered an early loss, played and they did not play a clean game against Georgia Tech, and it cost them. And, went out today and got their ass kicked. They're, looking at it, probably just thought it was going to be easier. It's not. All right. The guy who keeps spamming the chat is gone. You're gone. See ya. That's an interesting comp. 2015 LSU. Remember, first college football playoff rankings in 15, LSU was number 2 in the country. Fournette, they'd already engraved his name on the fucking Heisman. And they went to Bama, lost, and then they spiraled. Defense shit the bed against Arkansas. Alex Collins went off, and then they went to Ole Miss and were just embarrassing against Ole Miss, wearing all white uniforms. But they beat A&M. All right. I think we're done. Let's get out of here. I got to go record Locked on LSU. Y'all do me a favor, man. Please smash the like button if you're on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. 1,400 of you hanging on. I love that, man. I'm grateful, man. I mean, LSU played an FCS team, beat the hell out of them, and there's more than 1,000 people hanging out with us tonight, man. I'm just very grateful. So thanks for being there. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Love to remind you as well about Locked on LSU. If you don't check that out, I would love it if you did. It's my daily podcast. It's just LSU. Podcast, YouTube. Please subscribe. Appreciate that. And big shout out, of course, Parish Construction and Roofing. Proud to be a partner, an owner in Parish. Really proud of the team we built. Proud of all the people we've helped, and also the way we've been able to give back to the community in a short amount of time. The communities we serve. Without we just did some work for Our Lady of the Lake, and we did. We're part of their Driving the Future event, their 5-car raffle giveaway, and some of our partners worked the phone banks there for their donation telethon on the phone banks. We've been sponsors at St. Jude and Our Lady of Mercy and St. George, and the Go Red for Women luncheon for the American Cancer Society. And anyway, love to be able to give back, man. That's something will always be part of what we do at Parish. So we'd love to help you out, man. ParishBuilt.com. Repairs, replacements, roof, residential, commercial. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. And Got Lit Light Installers. Big shout out to Derek. I think he's probably still watching. He texted me a bit ago, but Cricket, let's go. Wait, hang on. Cricket, let's go. Wait, look at this, man. It's a $50 super chat. That's so nice. I don't even like doing super chats because I don't want your money, but I appreciate it greatly. So, cheers. You know what you can do? Instead of super chatting me, you can support our sponsors. Need a roof? Call Parish. If you're going to do Christmas lights, call Got Lit. But please, 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 make sure you get the right company. Because if you just go to Google and type in light install, you might get the wrong. So please make sure it's gotlitlights.com, gotlitlights.com, gotlitlights.com. Call Derek tomorrow. Let him come by. Let him give you the estimate, what it would cost to put up Christmas lights at your house. They do an awesome job. I'll do it for as long as they stay in business, hopefully it's forever. I'll hire them every year. I mean, Erica loves Christmas. She loves decorations. I hate decorating. So I can have them come decorate the house. It's beautiful, gorgeous. I don't have to lift a finger. And then when the season's over, they come haul all the stuff away. It's perfect. Gotlitlights.com. But don't wait, y'all. I'm telling you, their schedule's going to fill up. Don't be like, I'll call them at Thanksgiving. They're going to be done installing by then. They're done by Thanksgiving. So you got to call them now to get on the books for the installs in November. All right. Let's get on. I'm going to record Locked on LSU. Someone asked when I sleep. I sleep plenty. Just when I'm awake, I work. All the time. So, go Tigers. Love y'all. Seriously, thank you so much for hanging out, man. If y'all weren't here, I wouldn't be doing it. So, thank y'all for hanging out, man. Y'all have a great night. Go Tigers. And